Welcome to the Anshe Sfard Beth Elameth congregation here in Memphis. And welcome to our discussion of Parshat Naso, Samson and Separatism. If we look in Parshat Naso, and we try to understand what is this Parsha all about, it's not an easy task. There are no less than 5 sections in the middle of the Parsha that seem unconnected one to another. The rabbis struggle to connect one Parsha to the next. What are these 5 sections and how are they related one to another? The first section of Yishalchu min hamachaneh kol tzarua v'chol zav chol tamei lenefesh, that you should send away from the camp of Israel anyone who's tzarua, a leper, a zav, one of certain emissions, bodily emissions, and tamei lenefesh, those of severe impurity. They need to be sent out of the camp. Section 1. Section 2. Limolmal b'Hashem, if there are those who indeed have committed various crimes related to denial of responsibility, then they vitvadu et chatatam asher asu. They need to confess the sins they've done. Ve'yeshiv et hashamo b'rosho, they need to restore the stolen goods, that which they've taken. Chamishito yosef alav, they need to pay a fine. And v'natan l'asher hasham, to pay to the person whom they wronged. That's section number 2. Section number 3, again seemingly unrelated, Parshat Sotah, a woman who's suspected of not only hiding off with a man, but perhaps impropriety with someone other than her own husband. Then the story of the Nazir, the Nazirite, the one who vows not to have any wine, not to come in contact with the dead. The Nazir, the Nazirite. On the one hand, he's kadosh yeh, he's going to be very holy as he grows his hair long and he becomes very different from everyone else. On the other hand, he has to bring a sin offering and atone for the sin that he has done, whatever that may be. Section of the Nazir, the Nazirite. What's it doing here? And then finally, the Birkat Kohanim, the blessings of the priest. How are each one of these sections related one to another? And more broadly, how are they connected to the broader picture of the book of Bamidbar? If you recall, Bamidbar had set up the camps. We set up the camps of the Levites at the beginning of the Parsha. Last time we set up the camps of the Israelites, 3 tribes on this side, 3 tribes on that, 3 tribes on the next. The 12 tribes all encamped around the central Mishkan. How are these 5 sections related to the setting up of the camp of Israel? What I'd like to suggest is that the Tzad HaShaveh, the common denominator of all these 5 sections, and how it relates to the rest of it, is that what we want to do is, as we set up a holy camp, there are certain individuals who, for whatever reason, are not making for a harmonious camp, and we need to expunge either them or their behaviors from this camp in order to go on harmoniously and live as a peaceful and beautiful and godly camp. What do I mean? Number 1, we need to send away those who are impure. Those, for instance, who spoke Lashon Hara, who had social disability, a social awkwardness, a social inability to cope and deal with others. They had to gossip and slander and cause a confrontation between one human being and another. They need to be sent out of the camp, not permanently, but temporarily, to heal, to become worthy of being in the camp of Israel. Others can remain in the camp, but they need to do tshuva, v'hitvadu, the essence of tshuva, this verse right here in our parsha, v'hitvadu et avonam. They need to confess their et chatatam, they need to confess their sins. And tshuva is incomplete unless they make restoration of the stolen or improperly gained property. That's tshuva. That's the second method of repairing our camp, healing our camp. The third thing that needs to be done is we need to remove any sort of jealousy from from within the camp. If one husband suspects a wife, what kind of harmony can they live in? For the rest of their lives, he says that she was unfaithful, she says she wasn't unfaithful. What's going to be? Comes the Torah and says, well, maybe this woman is hanging around with people she shouldn't. Maybe she's hiding off with various people. But perhaps she's really a righteous woman. She's never done anything wrong. And perhaps through the ceremony of sotah, the ceremony of the adulterous woman, we can ascertain that indeed she is faithful to her husband. And it can bring shalom ben ish liishto, as the Gemara says in Shabbat, Kuftet Zayin, and in Tosefta Shabbat. This section is made and designed to bring peace between a man and his wife. And more broadly speaking, to bring peace into the camp. The camp of Israel consists of families, and in those families there needs to be harmony. If there's to be a harmonious Israel, there need to be harmonious families. And the ceremony of sotah, of the wayward woman, is designed to bring harmony into the families of Israel. Then the Nazirite. Now the Nazirite's more challenging. What's the Nazirite doing here? What does he have to do with this camp? Is there something wrong with him? We need to expunge him from the camp? Isn't the Nazirite someone who vows to be holy, to be a little different, a little better than everyone else? What's going on here? If we look in the Gemara and Tanit, the Talmud there, in 11a, Yud Aleph Amud Aleph, there are different opinions. Rabbi Lazar HaKapar says that Chiper alav masher chata al nefesh, when the Torah says in our parsha that he has sinned and he needs atonement for his sin, what was his sin? Shetzir atzmo min hayayin. He didn't allow himself to partake of wine. He couldn't be like everyone else. He had to be different and separate. He didn't partake of the world around us, the pleasures of the world which can be partaken of in moderation. And he didn't do it. This person needs to be sent out of the camp. He doesn't understand and appreciate how to get along with others, how to appreciate all the aspects of life. He thinks he's above, muram miyam, better than everyone else. This person is a sinner. He needs to be sent out. He needs to be atoned for. He needs to stop being a Nazirite. Just like those who are impure and others need to be changed. However, there's another view. Rabbi Lazar Omer Nikra Kadosh. On the contrary, don't you see in the parsha that the Nazirite is called holy? If you're going to have a holy camp, says Rabbi Lazar, you need to have those who are above the camp. Yes, most of the people here need to be changed and sent out. This person lifts himself above the community because he wants to be even better and holier than everyone else. Is being holier than everyone else something to get rid of, something to change, or is it something to celebrate as part of this holy camp? We have Levites, we have Kohanim, and we have Nazirites, even holier than everyone else. Which one is it? Either way, it's part of this theme of the creating a holy camp. V'haya machanecha kadosh. Your camp should be holy. If we want to understand the Nazirite a little better, perhaps we should look at two very famous people who seem to be Nazirites. Samson, Shimshon, and Samuel, Shmuel. First of all, Shimshon in the book of Judges. His mother is told, Al tishti yain v'shichar, umora lo yale al rosho. You, the mother of Shimshon, Slaphonis, do not drink wine and strong drink, and a morah, apparently an allusion to a razor, should not go on his head. This person should have wild hair his whole life, never drink wine. That's Shimshon.